Hi guys, I'm with François, one of the co-founders of the studio and one of our programmers, and today is going to talk about the knowledge network system he's been working on for the release 0.4. So François, take us away.
Okay, so back in November, I talked about how we created this new knowledge network system that linked different objects in the world so that they could so that the characters could make more efficient decisions for the construction groups. And for the 0.4, we had to make a few tweaks because we want to port that system to the bigger islands.
Yeah.
And turns out our system had limitations over the size of the islands, so it wasn't a problem on the earlier smaller map.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when we tried to port this to the big island we made, it didn't work quite well. Yeah, so I'm gonna start one of the maps I like to use for these tests and show you how it works. So now I have activated a debug functions that shows you the knowledge regions on the game.
Here you go.
There you go. Okay, so there's gonna be these regions here. You can see these are generally the sections of the world that are connected together without having to climb or step down from blocks. And the idea is that we can decide which size we want these regions to be. But if we get them the bigger we get them, the more voxels we have to scan at the same time. And when the island is too big, we have to limit the size of the regions so that we don't go around mapping these places where there's nothing interesting going on. So the idea is that the regions are around the interesting objects. So every object in this world that is interactive, you see the mine there, or the characters has the crystal has its own aura of knowledge. So in the initial system, we had 30 blocks of distance for the regions, and now I set it back to 20 because I didn't have to use the 31 for the reasons I'm going to explain. So the idea is that we have this system of regions, but if the objects are too far apart from each other, they won't be connected, so people will not see them. As you can see, the mine here is not connected in the knowledge in the network to the crystal here. So if you have your stockpiles there and your characters are going to mine there, in theory they would not be able to reach it.
Okay.
So we might have just the option to make the system.
And when you say reach, they don't know about the existence of the crystal.
Yeah, exactly. They will not see it in terms of knowledge. Okay. So the idea is that everything that is in this region, we know for certain that we don't have to climb up or down to reach it, and that there's a coherent path to go from one place to another. But we don't know that there's a path from this place to this one until we try to scan it. So the idea is to make the knowledge network is about having all the connections between the interesting objects mapped in the same system.
And this is just an illustration. It's not something gonna find in the game, just to show you what's happening behind the scene.
This is our debug. This is how the characters see. This is what they know. Okay. So the idea is in the previous version we had these auras of knowledge being larger, so that this one would overlap with this one, and characters would know they could make the cycle. But it didn't work. It didn't work for further systems that were too far away. And in the big islands, it became a very big problem. So we had to scale it some other way. So what I made is the path marker system. So when the characters are moving, they're leaving a trail behind them. And this trail, we will see it in the next updates, this trail is used in the knowledge system as some sort of a connection between interesting zones. So as Plume is going in that direction, you'll see that he left the trail of the place he walked behind him. You see, this is the trail where he went. So now this region is connected to this one because the trail is connected here.
So theoretically, now if he was about to mine.
Yeah, exactly. So if I sent someone in the mine there, they would know there is a connection because there is this little bridge here that goes there, and that tells them they can reach this object through that path. Okay. So just to make sure that you understand properly, the knowledge system has nothing to do with the pathfinding itself. When the character decides to go from a path to another, he doesn't follow the actual knowledge grid. The knowledge grid is just to know that there is a path, so they don't end up making path search that are useless, and that they don't have to scan the entire world for objects. They just scan the objects they know are connected. Okay. Yeah. So this is basically the thing, and what you can see is that this system was not really enough, because to connect the regions, the character had to actually go there, and if I send my character back or somewhere else, I had to create an algorithm that make these trails decay, so that we don't cover up the entire world with trails.
Okay.
And so they could be cut sometimes, and it would lose the connection with the regions. So what I made is the solution I made is that there's another system that uses its available time to try to make path between regions. So if I start by making this region there and the region here, and I realize that there is no connection between each other, I'm going to start a pathfinding search that's going to try to go to the other region. And when it reaches it, it basically marks the path it used exactly as if a character had walked on it.
Okay.
So it will create a link to this place. So when you started the map before that, there were no connection, and as the game goes,
We
the
see
connections they're starting to go. So if you move your characters around, you're going to create hard connections by yourself. So whenever you go to some place that is relevant to you, the connection is going to be made. So no problem if you go somewhere, your characters will remember it. But if you never went somewhere, the locations will eventually make themselves, so that if there are new puzzles that come around, the characters will be able to solve them.
Okay.
So that's basically the idea. So you can see that this region here has not been linked to the rest of the network yet, but it's going to come pretty soon.
And how do you prevent Brickron going all the way to the end of the island to get a resource? Is it the same? Is this the same thing?
Right. Okay. So that's one of the problems I had in the first place. Is that the pathfinding algorithm we use is A*, and A* is very efficient in terms of cost if he tries to go to a place that is kind of simple. But there are some kind of maps, some sort of structures that are made to trap the A* algorithm. Like in this map, one of the biggest problem we have is this place here.
Mm-hmm.
So A* is trying to reach a place in a direct line. So if you have a character here and you ask him to go there, or if there's a resource there, they will not know that there is a gap between them, and they'll try to reach it. And their pathfinding is gonna the algorithm is gonna encourage them to try to reach it as soon as possible. So they'll end up filling up this entire region of the map before they can actually figure out that they have to go around to make this long path. And this represents almost 10,000 different blocks. So we don't want to have this problem repeating itself. So we limited the amount of blocks a character can use to find a region, find an object, and if he can't find it, he's going to mark it up as unreachable. So as long as he'll stay on that voxel, he will not try to reach this block anymore. If someone asks him if we have a resource there and a block to create here, their character is going to start by saying, like, I should be able to reach this place because the region connects it, and then he's going to say, oh no, wait, my algorithm can't allow me to reach it in a reasonable manner, so I'm just going to discriminate it for now.
Okay.
So it's going to be put aside, and he's going to try find other resources.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be more in their system. Eventually, I'd like to be able to use the knowledge system the knowledge network to give pointers to the character as to where he should walk to go there. But right now, the regions have arbitrary shapes, so I can't really. I can determine centers, but it would be very costly. So what I'd have to do is figure out ways to make the regions have a regular shape, and then find centers and give estimates of the distance you need to go from one region to another. So I could just say to the character that this place is too far away, or even better, that the correct way to go there is just to go in the wrong direction for a certain time, and then start kicking off the usual algorithm. So we're not there yet. Right now we just have the knowledge collection, the connection system.
So this is going to be in the release 0.5?
Yeah, 4? It is in 0.5.
So
yeah.
It's 4.
So it should solve the problem we had with the size of the islands. So right now with this system we can have arbitrary big island, and as you can see, the only cost we have to maintain this system is to maintain these little bridges between the regions, which are very cost efficient.
Okay.